McAfee in motion. The Bears on their own 32-yard line. Luckman gives to Osmanski. Tries the left side. Comes back outside. Gives ground at the 30. Turns the corner at the 35. He's at the 35 to the 30. Great block by Wilson. Osmanski all alone on his way. A 68-yard touchdown run. The extra point makes it 7-0. Chicago leading. A minute gone in the game. Here's Ball from Washington. Back to pass. Looking downfield. Throws. He's got Malone. He dropped it at the 5-yard line. Could have been the tying touchdown, but it's early in the game. Now Masterson trying a 32-yard field goal. Ball holding. It is up. It is no good. Wide to the left. And the Bears hold on to a 7-0 lead.
The historic NFL championship game of 1940 is the theme of our show on The Way It Was. Hi, I'm Kurt Gowdy, and welcome to another American Sports Classic. Perhaps the most astounding pro football game ever played. The World Championship between the Chicago Bears and Washington Redskins of 1940. And to help us relive that historic football day, the most successful T-formation quarterback of the Chicago Bears, Hall of Famer Sid Luckman. And perhaps the greatest passer of all time, the triple threat halfback from the Washington Redskins, Hall of Famer, Slingin' Sammy Baugh. And here to help us relive the excitement, the color, and the exploits of these two championship teams, we're pleased to have a former quarterback from the University of North Dakota and the Philadelphia Eagles. He was the head linesman for this historic 1940 championship game. They call him Mr. Chicago, a famous syndicated columnist, has an outstanding talk show on television in Chicago, and he's a friend to all of us from all walks of life. Mr. Irv Kupcinet. Irv, an honor to have you on The Way It Was.
Glad to be with you, Kurt.
Now, Irv, you've covered football for years. You do analysis for years on football. And before we get to this 1940 game, let's go back to 1937, when a rookie came into the league from TCU named Sammy Baugh.
Well, Kurt, 1937, let's see, that was the Redskins' first year in Washington. Prior to that, they'd been known as the Boston Redskins. And they were led to the Eastern Division Championship by this young rookie you mentioned from Texas Christian University, Sammy Baugh. Slingin' Sammy. And on an icy Wrigley Field, one of the most famous pro football rivalries was born between the Redskins and the Bears.
All right, let's quickly go back now to December 12th, 1937, and see why the sports world was buzzing about this prize rookie called Sammy Baugh.
The Chicago Bears were the toughest line in pro football going into this game. A slight favorite with a record of 9 wins, 1 loss, and a tie. The Redskins 8-3. First quarter action, Baugh deep in his own end zone, passing out, and it's complete at the 6-yard line. That's number 20. Cliff battles with the ball, finds open field running to the sideline, and is finally tripped up and dropped at midfield. Redskins moving now, and here's Baugh in action, drifting to his right, going to pass. It's complete. 35, that's Riley Smith, and he's bumped out of bounds after a 6-yard gain. Baugh again in action, handing off to Cliff Battles, head down, fighting for the end zone, and he's in. And Washington has scored. They take an early lead, 7-0. Following the kickoff, the Bears with the ball. T-formation, Masterson to Bronco Nagurski. Outside, gets bumped off his feet. He's back up and finally dropped by Baugh, an 11-yard gain. Masterson now at quarterback, handing off to number 10. Automatic Jack Vanders up the middle and touchdown for the Bears. The point after makes it a tie game at 7-7. Still the first quarter. Masterson at quarterback, faking now, back to pass, firing downfield. It's complete to Manders. Behind the secondary, the race is on in that slippery field. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. 14-7, the Bears lead now, and the fans seem to enjoy it. Third quarter now, still 14-7. Baugh back to pass, fires over the middle. It's complete. Wayne Miller, the Notre Dame great, has it. The race is on. He's into the end zone. Yes, he scores. And it's all tied again. The Bears went in front on a Masterson touchdown pass, and now 21-14. Baugh trailing. He's back in action, firing over the middle. It's complete. Again with the ball. Milner at the 41. Outraces Masterson. Manders comes in from the side. Will he get him? No. As Milner is into the end zone, and the game is tied for the third time at 21-21. What a great day this rookie Sammy Baugh has had. Already 2 touchdown passes, and he's back in action again. Fakes once, fires, and it is complete. Justice back to the secondary, is into the end zone, and the Redskins have scored again as they capture the 1937 NFL title. Baugh with 388 yards and 3 touchdown passes, and the Redskins win their first ever crown, 28-21 over the Bears. And to the nation's capital, Griffith Stadium, the Chicago Bears, seeking revenge for their 1937 defeat, handed them by the Washington Redskins, as these two great clubs meet in this 1940 championship game. Just a month ago, these two teams met, and Washington won it 7-3. The lineups for the Chicago Bears: Nowaski at left end, Steinahar at left tackle, Portman, Turner, Arto, Wilson in the line, Sid Luckman, Ray Nolding, George McAfee, and Bill Osmanski in the backfield. And for the Washington Redskins, their starting lineup will find Masterson and Wilkin, Farman, Tichenal, Sylvinski, Barber, and Malone up front, Krause, Sam Baugh, Ed Justice at the halfback spots, and Jim Johnston at fullback. The Bears have won the toss and elected to receive. So it'll be Washington kicking off. Number 36, that's Willie Wilkin. And the ball is in the air and taken by Ray Nolding at the Bear 3. Starts outside of the 5, the 10, 15, 20. He's hit. Ball is in the air, and he bats it out of bounds at the 25. First and 10 for Chicago. Luckman at quarterback. McAfee up the middle, and he gets a quick 7. McAfee in motion. The Bears on their own 32-yard line. Luckman gives to Osmanski. Tries the left side. Comes back outside. Gives ground at the 30. Turns the corner at the 35. He's at the 35 to the 30. Great block by Wilson. Osmanski all alone on his way. A 68-yard touchdown run. 6-0 Bears lead. And Jack Manders tries the extra point. It's good. 7-0 Chicago. Manders kicking off now. Bananas Kraut for Washington up to 10, 15, 20. Finds a hole at the 25, at the 30, 35. Upfield at the 40. Gets a block at the 45. At midfield, he's hit from behind and dropped. And down on the Chicago Bear 39. Osmanski made the stop. Redskins at the 26 now. Baugh going to the air. Steps into the pocket. Fires downfield. Malone has got it. He drops it at the 5-yard line. Incomplete. Field goal try now. Masterson from the 32. Ball holding. It's up. It's long enough, but it's wide left. No good. Chicago with the ball now, following the field goal try. Luckman at quarterback. Gives to Osmanski. Breaks big hole at right tackle. Starts outside. Gets away from one tackler. At the sidelines, he's hemmed in and finally brought down a 22-yard gain. Ball was there to make the stop. 2 runs by Nolding. Gain 6. And now Luckman giving to McAfee. Tries the left side, finds a hole, darts back inside, down to the 39-yard line. Barber there to make the stop. Luckman, McAfee again, 6 yards up the middle, and Tichenal made the tackle for Washington. Luckman at quarterback now, man in motion for the Bears. Luckman pitching out, Osmanski tries the right side, cuts back in, good hole, fights his way for some yardage, and is down to the 21. 6 yards on that, and now Nolding up the middle. First down, Chicago. Bears with a man in motion. First and 10 on the Washington 14. Luckman takes the snap, rolling right, fires a pass. It is complete to Nolding, and Baugh comes over on defense and knocks him out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Third down for Chicago on the Washington 1.5-yard line, and Luckman into the end zone, and the Bears have scored 80 yards in 17 plays. Bob Snyder comes in to convert the extra point. It is good. 14-0 Chicago in the first quarter. The Redskins can't move following the kickoff, and so Washington 4th and 16 on their own 14-yard line, and ball back to kick, partially deflected by George Musso. Luckman has it and brings it to the 42-yard line. First and 10 Bears now. Luckman handing to Joe Maniaci. The Fordham Flash comes outside. He's number 11. Gets by Mickey Park. Open field down the sidelines. Will he go all the way? Yes, he's into the end zone. And he scores. The Bears have 2 touchdowns within a minute, and they're threatening to blow this game wide open. Martinovich from Pacific adds the extra point. The Bears lead 21-0. Second quarter now, still 21-0 Bears. Redskins with the ball. Frankie Pilchak in for Baugh, firing downfield, long pass. It is incomplete, intercepted. It is picked off by Nolding, and he brings it back to the Bear 44. First and 10 Chicago. Luckman handing off to Nolding, who tries the right side and gets 9 tough yards out to the 47. Second and 10 for the Bears now in the Washington 42. Luckman has a man in motion, takes the snap, and pitches to Osmanski, trying the left side, turns the corner at the 40. He's at the 35 and bumped out of bounds near the 30-yard line. Wilbur Moore made the stop. It's 3rd and 9 for the Bears now. That's Ray Scooter McLean in motion, and Luckman back to pass, pumps, sets, fires long and deep, and it's Ken Tellin on the end zone. He's got it behind Farkas and Pilchak. A touchdown pass, 30 yards. The conversion is good, and the Bears lead Washington 28-0 with 3:15 left in the half. All right, Sammy Baugh back in now for the Skins, and back to pass. Looking, throws over the middle, complete to number 44, Farkas. He gets 19 yards down to the 44 before 3 Bears bring him down. Ball back to pass again. Looking and throws to the sidelines. That's Jimmy Johnson, number 31. crosses midfield at the 49. He's dropped a 7-yard gain. It's 4th and 2 for Washington now on the Bear 48. The Bear defense stiffens, and Washington going for the first down. Ball, 4th and 2, passing. It's complete over the middle. Johnston again. Osmanski makes the stop at the 40. Skins have lost 5 on a penalty. Now, ball back to pass, and a heavy rush gets away from one man. Looking, throws. Oh, he's hit by Coleman, but he gets it away. A long pass, deep downfield, battle in the air. It is caught by Malone at the 5-yard line. This is the best threat Washington's had all day. They do lose 5 yards on a timeout penalty, though. Time for one more play, and ball rolling to his right. Looking over the middle, tosses. It is incomplete, intercepted by Osmanski, and he brings it back to the 6. And the half ends, Chicago leading 28-0, and the Bears have shown this Washington crowd a perfectly played first half of football. 28-0. The Redskin band tries to drum up some touchdowns, and the crowd hopes that they can get some magic from swinging Sammy Baugh's right arm. The kickoff by Chicago was taken by Malone at the 23, and he returns it 9 yards to the 34. 1st and 25 for Washington. They had a holding penalty. Baugh is in. He's back to pass, looking, puts it out, intended for Johnston, picked off by Hampton Poole. An over-the-shoulder interception, and he's into the end zone. Just that quick and just that easy. Dick Plasman converts, and like that, with only 45 seconds gone in the third quarter, the Bears lead 35-0. And nothing goes right for Washington. On a 4th down play, the snap from center is fumbled by Baugh, picked up by Johnston, trying to find room, gives ground, and he is dropped for a loss 16 yards back to the 33. All right, Bernie Masterson at quarterback for Chicago now. Luckman on the bench. He hands off to Nolding. Good blocking in front. Speedy Nolding down the sidelines is bumped out of bounds and bumps the photographer. Nice gain, 10 yards. All right, Masterson still at quarterback, and Nolding gets the handoff and bursts up the middle, takes Baugh out of position, and is into the end zone for another touchdown. Plasman missed the conversion, but the Bears lead 41-0 with 10:35 left in the third quarter. Redskins have the ball following the kickoff. Zimmerman in, replacing Baugh. Hands off to Seymour, youngster from Oklahoma. No gain at left tackle. 2nd and 10, Washington. Zimmerman back to pass. Looking, throws over the middle. It is intercepted. Picked off by McAfee. Back down the sidelines at the 10, at the 5, and he's into the end zone. Chicago's 7th touchdown. Stidahar converts with 9:48 left in the third quarter. 48-0, the Bears over Washington. 3rd and 9 for Washington now following the kickoff. Zimmerman passing again. Number 28, Masterson has got it at the 46, brought down at the 49. 1st and 5 now for Washington in Bear territory. Zimmerman gives to Seymour, tries the right side of the line, turns the corner, down the sideline, and finally, with his helmet torn off, fights his way down to the 30-yard line before he's finally tackled. 4th and 10 for the Skins now at the Bears 16. Zimmerman back to pass. Barnum is tackled, open, near the end zone. Reaching, incomplete. Just couldn't get it over his head. It is incomplete. And 2nd and 8 for Washington now at the Washington 38 with only 2:30 left in the quarter. The snap is over Zimmerman's head. He dives on it at the 21, and nothing is going right for Washington today. 3rd and 25, and Zimmerman passes, intercepted. Yes, Bulldog Turner has got it at the 30, and down the sidelines and into the end zone. The 8th touchdown of the day. Their 3rd by interception for Chicago. Mariachi misses the extra point, but really, who cares? The Bears lead 54-0. An incredible display. Again, Chicago with the ball. Sherman at quarterback for the Bears now. That was Clark up the middle for 10. And Sherman still at quarterback now. Hands off on the inside. Handoff with the ball. Nowoski off right tackle. 7 yards to the 49. Irv Cupson at the headlinesman walks off 15 yards against the Redskins for slugging. And one can hardly blame him. 1st and 10 for the Bears now. Sherman back to pass. Milner sacks him, an 8-yard loss. The best play Washington's had all day. 3rd and 18 now. Sherman fakes it. Famigliotti gives to Clark. Clark down the sidelines on the reverse. A clear field in front of him. Wilson and Bosch are there to block. At the 15, they clear the way. Clark is into the end zone. He scores. Famigliotti misses the point after. Chicago now leads 60-0. 11:13 remaining in this football game. But the Skins keep trying. They've got the ball on their own 19. That's Filchuk back to pass. Looking. Gets a heavy rush from... The ball is knocked free. It's on the ground and diving for it. Of course, the Bears have it again in the 2-yard line. And now, from the 1, Famiglietti into the end zone. Scores again, the 10th touchdown for Chicago. The officials are running out of football, so they ask the Bears to pass for the extra point. How about that? The Bears do it, and of course, it's good. And so it is 67-0. Chicago leads Washington. Time running out in the game. Filchuk in at quarterback. Hits Milner with a pass. Good for 8 yards. Skins trying to get something done here. Filchuk back to pass again. Heavy rush. Throws over the middle. Tipped away and intercepted by the Fordham Flash, Joe Maniaci. Good broken field running by Maniaci. Picks up some blockers now. Goes to the far side of the field. Gets away from one tackler. Good block there. Turns upfield. Fights his way between skins. And returns it 26 yards to the 42. 2 plays, lose 8 yards. Bob Snyder, the quarterback now. He played at Ohio. Back to pass. Throws. Great catch by Millhall from Purdue. And he's dropped by Farkas, making the stop for Washington. George Halas clearing his bench now, using just about everybody in this game. Snyder remains at quarterback. Back to pass, looking, gets hit, gets away, hit again, flips it as he's about to fall, and it's grabbed by Maniaci. Great run by Maniaci, breaks clear into the secondary, dodging between tacklers. 3 men finally bring him down at the 21. First and 10, Chicago now at the Washington 21. Snyder pitching out, Harry Clark trying to sweep left end. Turns the corner, bumps into a couple of tacklers, and gets 8 yards. First and goal now at the Washington 10-yard line. Snyder, the quarterback, turns, gives to Maniaci, straight ahead, good hole. He pulls his way to the 3-yard line. Third and goal now for Chicago at the Washington 1.5-yard line, and Harry Clark takes the handoff into the end zone. The conversion fails, and the clock runs out with the Bears slaughtering the Redskins. Whoop, that shot wasn't George Preston Marshall shooting himself, just a merciful end to the most one-sided game in all of pro football history. Chicago 73, the Washington Redskins nothing. Incredible.
Greatest statement I've ever heard in the history of sports after the game. When George Halas was interviewed on the radio, he says, "I think we deserve to win." 73 to nothing in the championship.
Halas was a master of understatement at that moment.
I think out of this game that I'd like to have you two talk about, though, was an impact. The real story of this game to me was, of course, the incredible one-sidedness of teams that look like evenly matched. But the T formation, which changed the attack of football. The same year, Stanford, under Clark Shaughnessy, went undefeated, won the Rose Bowl, beat Nebraska. You fellows had this sensational game in this great year. And from then on, it's been the T formation in pro football, and it was born by Halas with the Bears, helped by Shaughnessy. That's the real story, isn't it?
That's when football really changed, and all the coaches who loved to adopt successful systems went to the T formation at that time.
Quick hitting play, man in motion, spread the defense. You were still playing single wing. What did you think about the T?
Everyone in the Pro League was playing single wing except the Bears at that time. And I think we went to the T about 3 years after that, I believe. I believe when we were playing for the championship in 42. Yes, 42. We were using single wing man.
Were you ever happy with the T formation, Sammy?
Oh, yeah.
Most of your career as a single wing.
I was happy for about 2 or 3 years, but after that, I was very happy with it.
And when you came out of Columbia, your rookie year, they installed the T formation.
That should be called the Halas formation because he was the one that really started, even though it was the T. He was the one that made the game possible with the man in motion, all the different things that he did. But the strange thing about it, and I don't mean to be talking about myself, but just forgive me for just one moment. I'd say this apologetically, but I did coach down at Notre Dame when Frank Leahy installed the T formation, and when Coach Earl Blake at West Point, I helped them install. When I say I helped, I say that for a reason. What the most difficult thing was the quarterback position, because that was the fellow, as you know, Sammy, that had we had the spinning and the work, and I don't say that.
I know,
handoffs. And this was the thing that very few people understood.
Setting up,
the passing, and all that. And believe me, it was many, many thousands and thousands of hours that it would take a quarterback in those days to become a T formation quarterback.
What do you two of the all-time great quarterbacks, passers, think of the modern T formation quarterbacks that are playing now in America today?
I think they're good. The only thing I dislike about them today, I don't like the coach calling every play from the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
I think anybody in pro ball, any quarterback, to prove he's a good quarterback, should have to call the ball game.
How about you, Sidney?
Well, I agree with Sam. When we played, you recall, we played offense and defense. And in those days, you were not allowed to have a play sent in by the coach. Even by the trainer, you had to call all of your own plays, and once you were substituted for, you could not go back in the same quarter. In the same quarter, so it's entirely different. When you talk about the quarterbacks of today, and I think Sammy will concur with me on this, I sincerely believe the quarterbacks of today are far superior to the days when we played. I think they started when they were younger, They know the T formation. They've been watching television since they were kids. They've practiced the game. It's like every other sport. They're high jumping 7-8 feet. They're pole vaulting 18 feet. They're running a mile.
Stronger.
The biggest lineman today weighing 275 pounds will run the 40-yard dash in 4.7, 4.8. It was unheard of in the time when we played. Whenever the relative position today, I really sincerely believe the athlete of today is far superior to the athlete of the time when Sammy and myself were partaking in athletics.
Now, Irv, you've observed the sports scene in Chicago since the 30s. This club was called the Monsters of the Midway, or one of the greatest pro teams ever put together. How were the Chicago Bears of that era? Of course, it's hard to compare era against era. But how would you compare that team against the modern teams of today?
Well, if you can make a comparison today, the big difference is today we have teams that are offensive teams and defensive teams. The Bears had to play both ways. And these two fellows are examples of that. You heard Sammy Baugh tackling Nagurski. You heard Luckman tackling Sammy Baugh. The Bears of that generation were completely the dominant team, and they could hold their own with anybody at any time.
Irv, many, many thanks for being with us. Irv Kupcinet. And Sammy Baugh, of course, and Sid Luckman will always be regarded as two all-time great players in the history of the National Football League. And, of course, they're both enshrined in both the collegiate and the Professional Football Hall of Fame. We're very proud to have both of you men on the way it was. And so it was very disappointing for those 36,000 Redskin fans who really had difficulty believing what they'd seen. It wasn't a dream, but a terrible nightmare. But they would not be completely unhappy. They could tell their grandchildren they had witnessed the impossible. But that day they'd also seen perfection. For Washington, it would be the darkest day the nation's capital had ever witnessed until another Sunday exactly 1 year later, when the bombs would fall on Pearl Harbor, plunging the United States into World War II. And that's the way it was when the Chicago Bears defeated the Washington Redskins in the unforgettable 73-0 title game of 1940.